All right, we're here today. We're going to rebuild this SR. Last time we were here, we got it pulled out of the S13 and stuck up on the engine stand here. We're going to peel this thing apart and we're going to see what went wrong inside of it. Hopefully no head damage or block damage or anything like that. We're going to probably just toss pistons and rings in this and new bearings. So yeah, we're going to set you guys up here and we're going to power through this thing. I'm sure you've all seen an engine being torn apart, so we're going to try to make this as quick and painless as possible and take a look and see what happened to it. All right, we got this intake off of here. Everything looks pretty clean down in these ports. So far, it looks pretty good. What you doing over here, getting the exhaust manifold off?
Some questionable spacers on this exhaust. I don't understand the big ass hole.
That's factory.
Is it?
That big factory, yeah. Yeah, the cool thing about this SR is I don't think it has ever been taken apart before, so it should be pretty much completely original. We just gotta pull off the oil drain, oil feed, and the water lines off the turbo. I'm curious to see what shape this turbo is in, but nothing's leaking out of there. All right, exhaust manifold is off. Looking down in our holes here. This one here has got a little bit of oil residue, as well as cylinder 4. But the other ones here look to be in pretty good shape. Only one of these studs came out. Sweet. So all I need to do now is pull the alternator off and the water pump pulley. Of course, we're gonna pull every single thing off this. We're gonna completely strip this engine down. We're moving right along. All right, we got our valve cover popped off of here. Now I've already been in here before and it still looks pretty good. All the valve springs are there. None of the cams have too bad a scoring or anything. What do you think, Chris? How's it look?
Looks great to me.
Looks like an SR, don't it?
Looks like an SR. Cams look better than mine.
I'm gonna pull this cast out of here, then we'll start pulling the cams out and then we can pop the head up off of there. All right, we got all the cams out. Next up, we just got to pull all the head bolts out. I think that's it, just to get the head off, right, Chris?
Should be, yeah.
These rockers and stuff stay in here.
We'll pull all those out, lay them on a paper towel, get all the lifters out, and put them in a little cup of oil. Then we'll start zipping head bolts out.
All right, everything's pulled out. We're gonna start cracking these head bolts loose. We don't have the exact right tool for the job, but we're gonna make this little T-handle work. I don't know, dude.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
All right, never mind. Chris found the actual piece we need.
10 mil.
Now we can take this thing apart. That one was tight.
Good and tight. 2 ooga-doogas for sure.
Now we're ready to lop this head off. You got all the 10 mils off?
Nope.
Oh yeah, you got these inside ones here.
Now it should lift off. That guy. We're so prepared.
Hold on, the chain's all bound up in there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hold it there.
Mm-hmm. There we are. Now we can really look at this thing. Oh yeah, this piston here is definitely burned up pretty good on that side. Cylinder wall looks in great shape though. At least 1 and 4 does. Like, look at that. That looks fantastic.
It looks like water.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure the head gasket blew, but I also think one of the ringlands on the pistons let go. See, super obvious. All the fire rings are still around, so it didn't blow out that away, you know, as far as the head gasket goes, right?
Right.
And all this could be from when we pulled the head off. It's all tilted over, you know what I mean? But that piston right there is definitely burned up. Do you concur?
It looks a little scorchy. It's definitely got coolant on there. I'm not convinced it came off there when the engine was tilted, considering we just lifted the head off.
I'm just talking wishful thinking. But dude, honestly, the pistons, I can't believe how good they look.
All the cross hatching, you can.
That's what I'm saying,
I don't know
dude.
if you
Like
can see that or not, but
yeah, it's you can kind of
really
see
good.
it there. Let's roll this thing over a little bit so I can look at cylinder 2 and 3. I could probably do it by hand actually if you just. Dude, more of the same. I cannot believe how freaking good that is. Have you ever seen? I've never seen an SR.
I don't know that I would hone that.
A quick zip.
Never mind that one.
Oh yeah.
That one's got the.
We got a bit of scoring on the cylinder wall there. You can see all the vertical scoring here. Not looking great.
That's the only thing I see.
That's probably because the Ringland let go on here. I bet that's where the Ringland broke.
Probably.
But we won't know until we pull this thing completely apart. So let's keep rocking here. Well, there goes all the coolant. Did $8 short on that one, aren't we?
Yeah, we're catching a little bit of oil there.
There we go. All right, so now we're going to take off the lower pan and the upper pan, and once we get that stuff all off of there, we can start pulling the internals out of this thing. All right, our upper and lower oil pan are off, which exposes the main girdle here, and we'll be able to zip these main studs out.
I just realized how good your motor mount is right here.
Yeah, she fell apart, didn't she? Windage tray, girdle, and then we'll start pulling the rod caps off, and we'll push the pistons and rods out of the bottom here.
Start by taking the front covers off and try to jimmy this back cover out of there. That way, once we start cracking pistons loose, we can go straight to main caps and then pull the crank out. Get a little broken bolt on this.
I might just go ahead and get a whole new water pump and everything, huh? Reckon I ought to.
I mean,
maybe not.
Since you asked it, if you didn't ask it, you wouldn't have to. But since you asked it, you've got to.
Fair enough.
Does that make sense?
I guess that's a philosophy to live by.
Don't ask if you don't want to do it. Probably get a new one of these Johnnies though.
What's that?
Oil pump.
Really?
Well, I asked. Now you got to.
Well, I sure wish you'd quit asking about stuff. We gotta take that guide out, don't we?
Yeah, sure do. The guides look good though.
All right, so we got the chain and the guides off. We got the girdle out. Next up, we're gonna pop each one of these rod caps off, and then we'll drop the pistons out. And once those come out, we can pull the crank out, and that'll be pretty much it. Quick little trick. Here we go, right here.
This is for the block, and once we get the crank out, it's on one of the main counterweights. That'll tell us what rod bearings we need. It'll also give you a number to subtract these numbers from to get main bearing sizes, Nismo sizes, or OEM.
The factory Nissan.
Yeah, factory made within spec. Each one is ground to a specific tolerance, and whatever tolerance they associate it with a number, because you can take another crank from another block, given those numbers, subtract the numbers on the block, and you can get the appropriate bearing clearances so that it'll just last longer than race bearings or whatnot.
More likely to run like factory.
Yes.
Good oil pressure. Chris is speaking from experience. He's run, I don't know, 1 or 2 sets of ACL bearings. I don't know what you had in that, but you ran through.
Rebuilt it 3 times.
Rebuilt it 3 times, fighting bearings, and it wasn't until you put in the actual Nissan part number, factory Nismo bearings, matched to the block and crank numbers. I'll post up here a screenshot of the factory service manual. It gives you a little table to take the numbers from the block and the crank, and explains to you what you need to do to get the numbers that you need to order the right bearings. So you have exactly what you need. So
most people assume that bearings are consumables, in which some part they are, but they don't have to be as consumable as some people make them to be.
Right. Yeah. Ideally, you don't want them to be consumable if you don't have to.
So it looks like 11112. So there's 5 main caps. So each one of those numbers would go from front to back 11112, and that'll give you the number of bearings 0 through 5. It'll be one of those numbered bearings.
All right, so next up, we're gonna pull all these rod caps off, get these pistons out. Once we can get all these main caps off, we can pull that crank, get those numbers that we're talking about, start figuring out what kind of bearings that we need to put back in this thing. All right, here we go. Piston's coming out. Okay. Number 2 is one on this side. Let's see. Coming out. God damn.
Yep. Sorry. That was all at once. You ready to catch 4?
Yeah, 4 coming out. Beautiful. Number 3 coming out. Pistons look to be in pretty good shape, dude. All right, number 2. Believe this will be our problem child. Sure enough. I think that Ringland let go. What do you say?
Oh, that's the cylinder wall scoring issue.
Yeah, the whole side of the piston's all messed up. Look at that, pieces falling out of it. Look at the oil ring, dude. That whole section come out.
Wow.
Broke the whole section of ring out. The oil seal is completely wangoed, man. It's got a mess in here. Pretty bad. Looks like we're going to need another piston. All right, now that all the pistons are out, we're going to pull these main caps off. But before we do that, you can kind of see, of course, that's a piece of bearing.
That's bearing 1.
Rod bearings, we're saying.
Yep.
There's bearing 2, there's 3, and number 4. What's that one look like?
Same. Yeah, a little wear on there.
I mean, they could be worse. I've seen worse for sure. But yeah, once we get all these caps off, you can see what the main bearings look like. There you go. There's the first main bearing. It's got some stuff embedded in it there. You can kind of see a little bit.
Yep.
The journal on the cam looks to be in pretty good shape. Honestly, all these journals look pretty good. So that's good news. I don't even know that we're going to have to really polish those too much. Here we go. See if it's the thread in here. Here you go.
There we go.
Look at that. It's kind of cooked, actually.
Hot spots.
A little bit of hot spot in there. But again, the journal, I see one little kind of scar down the center of it, but nothing too terrible. More on that one, huh? See the burning on the bearing there? Worn through a little bit. Same deal. Journal looks to be in pretty good shape. Ooh, that one's real cooked.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of wear. Much of the same, man. I'm really feeling good about these journals. I think it was just piston damage we had, and, you know, nothing in the rotating assembly seems to be in too bad a shape.
Nothing a shoestring and some sandpaper can't take care of.
Yeah, we'll have that polished up in no time. And we might just, you know, ball hone that one cylinder. We might be able to get that scoring out. You think so,
yeah,
maybe?
Yeah. I think honing will do. Yeah, I'll take some measurements with my inside mic, just make sure it's not too oval. But otherwise, with it, if it's within specs compared to the factory service manual, then
we're gonna run it.
And if it's even close, we'll probably run it anyway.
The main thing I'm concerned about with most engines are how are the bearings, because nobody likes rod knock or mains. Oh yeah, we got those little
thrust bearings,
which we'll get new ones of those as well. Yeah. But they're not in too bad a shape.
A little hot.
Yeah, I reckon they are, huh?
Put a mic on, see what they measure. But
we're gonna do all new fresh bearings, rod bearings, main bearings, and everything. I haven't decided yet completely on pistons. I might get some Wiseco pistons and put it in this with some fresh rings, or I might just. How many did you say you've got? Like
7.
Yeah, he's got 7.
Good OEM used.
So I'll get a set of OEM rings probably. I don't have any intention on making this thing too much of a hot rod. I'd just like it to be pretty much stock SR power. I might upgrade the turbo to a T28. I haven't really checked out the one that we just took off, the stock T25. But I mean, if that thing's in great shape, I'll probably just keep the T25. This thing's gonna still run the factory tune, nothing wild. That S13 has 4/6 gears in it, so second and third sing pretty good. I don't think you need too much power. It should be more than enough to keep this thing rocking. So now we're going to pull this engine off the stand, right? Get the block off.
Yeah, we gotta knock this back piece off to get cap number 5 off. Allow us to pull the crank out.
And then that'll be pretty much it. We'll still have some stuff to strip off. Like we have all the
brackets and the water pump. Other than that, oil squirters.
Yeah, oil squirters down inside the block there. You can kind of see. Yeah, there's our squirters in each one there. We'll pull those out. And we'll have this block fully stripped. Looking at the head over here. The head looks pretty good. Actually really good, man. I don't see any kind of burning, or all the valve seats look good. The whole combustion chambers are pretty clean. Scotch-Brite the bottom of this and toss an OEM gasket back on it. How's the water pump look?
Looks like it was pumping water and not oil, or vice versa.
Yeah, so maybe the head gasket didn't let go.
I don't think it did. I think your piston says it all. It's very rarely 2 things at once. Once one thing lets go, it's hard to make the same power to mess anything else up.
Right, yeah, the damage, the power's killed enough to where you can't keep driving it.
It's like breaking a chain in 2 places at once. Very rare.
Well, I was beating the heck out of this thing when I was drifting it. It got pretty hot. I think I saw like, what'd I see? Like 116 Celsius what is that? That's probably 250 or 260.
Double it and add 32 is the quick way.
It was hot, so hot enough to pop the ringlands on that piston, but maybe not hot enough to blow the head gasket. I don't know.
Don't forget about, you need that
O-ring. I'm probably gonna get an OEM whole seal and gasket kit and everything. I might need a new crank, dude. Dude, these threads are not good.
Not ideal?
Definitely, dude, they're gone, dude. They're done.
What, those?
Yeah, gone, son.
Oh, well, you get that on those big jobs.
Boom. How's that bearing look?
Toasty?
She cooked.
Here's your numbers. Like I was explaining earlier, the top numbers are your main cap. You'll subtract the block numbers, if I remember correctly. It may be the vice versa, but on the block we have 11112, and I'm gonna have to reconfirm this. Subtract or add, I can't remember, from these numbers, and you'll get your bearing number. 12101, and then for the rod bearings we have 1111.
So the factory service manual will tell you what size or what part number you need to order.
Given those numbers compared to these numbers, they will give you the exact tolerance bearing that you need to. Providing they all measure within factory spec, you'll go by the numbers in the factory service manual. All
right, we flipped this block over so we could take a better look at each one of these cylinder walls. Again, the whole surface looks to be, honestly, in my opinion, pretty good shape. I don't know what you think, Chris, but it looks pretty good.
Everything looks good except for the cylinder here. This side is where the ringland let go.
Yeah, you can really see the...
of course, I don't have fingernails, but it's hard to...
You feel it catching anything?
No.
Well, that could be good then,
It's,
right?
well, right there it does. Right towards the top. It's rough right here.
Yeah, you can see it's pretty scarred up.
Well, no, I'm sorry. That's where the piston doesn't reach.
Oh, I see.
That's just the little rough section.
Carbon ring, basically.
Yeah. Down in the stroke, it's hard to tell without putting a mic on it. It feels a little wonky, but I don't know. Won't know until then.
Right.
But every other one looks
Yeah, man.
great.
The rest of these cylinders are...
Like it looks like
most of the
factory
cross-hatching
cross-hatching is still there, which mine doesn't even have that.
Sweet. So this thing's in pretty decent shape. We've got everything all lined out here on the shelf. Tried to keep everything as organized as we possibly could so that when it goes back together, we're not scratching our heads too much. We need to get the head off of there and stuff it back in here somewhere. Well, yeah, there y'all have it. We got one SR torn completely apart. We only made a small mess here.